immigrants in this country pay more taxes than the oligarchy and the billionaires that surround Donald Trump at his press conferences. Everyone should know that. There would be no Social Security program in this country for people who work if it wasn't for undocumented people who contribute to that program and never see a dollar in return. That is the reality of the money and the economy in New York State. So we cannot afford to be without the Bangladeshi community. We cannot afford, because it did happen in your community and mine. Many of our community members did vote for Trump as president, and they were wrong. They were wrong. They thought that Donald Trump and his administration was quote unquote only going to go after criminals. And almost immediately upon taking the presidency, he has shown that he will go after anyone who is not white. Okay? They are not going into neighborhoods going after Polish or Irish immigrants. Well, it wasn't just the state assembly. Tom Homan came today to Albany. He rallied with GOP state senators and assembly members in order to carry a message of mass deportation. And more so, he wants the sanctuary state and sanctuary city laws changed. And he's calling for a repeal of the state's green light law. And for those who might remember, the green light law is the law that we passed many years ago in order to give undocumented immigrants the right to drive a car in the state of New York. So what he came to Albany to do is actually to take away the rights of undocumented New Yorkers to be able to get a driver's license. This is, of course, something that is very un-American, and we are all reeling about his arrival to Albany to try to do this. I want to give credit to Governor Hochul for saying that she would not want to repeal the green light law and would not want to revoke undocumented immigrants' right to drive in New York State. I mean, we're talking about farm workers in upstate New York. We're talking about possibly even workers down in New York City who have a work permit, even though they don't have a green card or much less a citizenship. So there would be grave consequences to our economy if undocumented New Yorkers were unable to get a driver's license in New York State. Look, Tom Homan coming to New York State's capital in Albany today was something that was very scary. We had immigrant activists present today. They have been fighting for a New York State budget that includes New York for All, that includes the right to representation, meaning that lawyers will be made available to immigrants in New York State, which has never ever happened, and a few other measures. So having him here to embolden the bigots, emboldening people who don't like immigrants, who seem to have forgotten that if they're Irish, if they're Italian, if they're Jewish, if they're from other parts of this world, they are not native to this land and they are the children of immigrants too. It is a very unfortunate situation, but we are very lucky, and we should remember that there are very big majorities of Democrats in both the New York State Assembly and the New York State Senate. And of course, our governor is a Democrat too. So one rally is not going to do the work that is needed for them and their bigotry. We are in the vast majority here to defend and protect our immigrant community. In fact, we are fighting for more. We're hoping that the governor listens to us. But we cannot stay silent. And we cannot be fearful. We cannot feel scared that because someone like Tom Homan comes out to say what he needs to say, that we're going to stay home and that we're going to be scared. Especially those of us who are the children of immigrants, and especially those of us who may have a green card or may be a naturalized citizen of this country. It is our moment to go out and make our voices heard like never before. We cannot allow Donald Trump and his cronies to get away with even getting the right headlines in the newspapers to confuse people, because that's exactly what they want. They want to instill fear in New York, in your community, in my community, and make us think that somehow we are divided and we are not the same. But as like I say many times, brown is brown, and we have to remain together, and we have to be united in solidarity with Black Caribbean people, with African people, with East Asian people, and with anyone who is engaging in this situation right now. Because remember, we all live on stolen land, and even the pilgrims who first came to this country came here because they were fleeing persecution in England. So this is always from the founding of our country, your country and mine. This has always been a country for people who are looking to be safe. Much like people from Bangladesh, from any corner of the country, certainly from Colombia or any Latin American country, we come here because we want to work. And that is our God-given right, to be able to be safe and to be able to provide for ourselves and for our families. And we should not feel fear. We should not be shy of letting people know that that is why we are here, and that if we weren't here, the economy of New York would completely collapse.
Okay.
We are here to make money. We are the ones that pay taxes. Undocumented immigrants in this country pay more taxes than the oligarchy and the billionaires that surround Donald Trump at his press conferences. Everyone should know that. There would be no Social Security program in this country for people who work if it wasn't for undocumented people who contribute to that program and never see a dollar in return. That is the reality of the money and the economy in New York State. So we cannot afford to be without the Bangladeshi community. We cannot afford to be away from the Latino community. We cannot afford to lose any community because we are New York. We are New York State. And I want to thank you for calling everyone's attention to this matter today, because I could not believe the audacity of this bigot to come into our seat of power in New York State and think he has the ability to persuade us, when in fact, all we want to do is make sure that we are protecting our stature as a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state.
Okay,
and that is what we will continue to do.
Thank you so much.
As long as we are focused and as long as we feel solidarity with each other in Jackson Heights, in Kensington, in Parkchester, in every corner of these 5 boroughs, they should not be able to mess with us. So do not feel confused. Do not feel alone. Do not feel scared. We are here for each other.
Thank you so much. And so I have just two things to know, be clear. One, green lights a program, and then sanctuary city program. So these two things they want to change. Do you think they have enough vote to change anything of this two program?
No.
Okay.
Thankfully, thanks to the vote of Bangladeshis, of South Asian folks, of Latino people, of Black people, of Asian people, and all of our allies. They do not have enough votes in the state Senate. They do not have enough votes in the state assembly. They do not count on the governor's support in order for any of these measures to move forward. But they today were able to do this press conference and make people believe out in Long Island, upstate, where they have had support, they've made them believe that this is somehow possible. And what the result is that people get confused and people start feeling scared. And this is why it's so important that everyone who is watching you tonight, Abu, understands that it is a lie, that it is a charade, and that we are not going to kowtow, we are not going to cower to any of them. I am not scared of them, and neither should any of us. We have laws in this country. We have laws in this state. We have laws in New York City that protect our immigrant community, and we will make sure that they are complied with. And we will make sure that our people know their rights. So for anyone watching who may be confused, if you are undocumented, you have as many rights as I do. I was someone who was born in Elmhurst Hospital in Elmhurst, Queens. You and I have the same rights in this city and in this state. And we will make sure that those laws are upheld, or else we will sue. We will withhold our taxes if that is what is needed for us to make sure that the federal government listens to us. We are not scared. Do not be scared.
Thank you so much. Thanks. And then last question is, so the New York State have any kind of program where the people, as you mentioned, undocumented people, which they have a plan to mass deportation of that kind of people who are living in this country. Is there any program that the New York State can help?
Well, right now we are pushing a few initiatives here in Albany in order to protect people. But I will say that given what has happened as of late, and I'm sure everyone who's watching the news knows of Mr. Khalil, who has been detained wrongfully by ICE. He is a Palestinian man who is a green card holder in this country, meaning he is a permanent resident. He has a wife who is 8 months pregnant, who needs her husband in order to make sure that she is safely given birth to their child in this country. ICE has taken him away from his family unlawfully, failed to disclose where he was, didn't even share the information with his attorney. And so, even though all of this is happening at the same time and it can feel very overwhelming, now is the time to see where the leaders are. In New York State, we are trying to pass laws that provide immigrants with the right to representation, meaning that they will have access to an attorney when they come before immigration. We are also trying to pass laws to make sure that immigrants have access to medical care and everything else. But in the face of Donald Trump, and I'm sorry from what I'm about to say, but I have to say it because it did happen in your community and mine. Many of our community members did vote for Trump as president, and they were wrong. They were wrong. They thought that Donald Trump and his administration was quote unquote only going to go after criminals. And almost immediately upon taking the presidency, he has shown that he will go after anyone who is not white. Okay? They are not going into neighborhoods going after Polish or Irish immigrants. They are going after people who look like you and me in order to separate our families and in order to hurt our economy. So we have to be very vigilant. And I am asking every Bangladeshi person who is watching the TV right now to write to their state senator and their assembly person and make sure they are signed on to the bills that will help our immigrant population stay safe in New York State, which will also protect our economy. This is a serious time to be a New Yorker, and I need everybody to step up and be able to help us be able to continue to make New York our home.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think anybody have any question? If you have, just because we have time sensitivity, but if you have, and she is also very busy. Anybody have any question? Yeah, just if you have any question.
I want to say, express my deepest gratitude to Senator Ramos for speaking up tonight. On behalf of our community and everyone here, there are very few people who go on record to stand with allies when the going gets tough. With the abduction, the illegal abduction of Mahmoud Khalil, we still await quote unquote major party leaders from New York State to speak up the way you have, the way Zoran Mamdani has. And whether it's this situation or speaking up for the rights of Palestinians in the past 18 months and anything else that can affect the most vulnerable, you've always been there pushing the truth every corner, even if it's to the dislike of people you've had to work with closely. So it's a privilege to have you stand on the right side of history, and I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Mr. Nazmul Hasan, any comment to your friend?
No, I have no comment. I heard about her. She speaks always the same way she does, and she's very, very helpful, very supportive of the community rights, and I think people should understand. She said one thing very important. Some of the folks voted for Trump also. But the thing is that when they make mistake, they make mistakes. When they realize it was a mistake, what they can do?
Yeah, that's right. I think we have only one, Anwara Ana Aman. Do you have any comment?
I really appreciate your comments. I think it gives a lot of us hope. And all of us on this screen have our own immigration journey. Like all of us have our own story. So I think it's time that we understand that we have to stand next to those who are vulnerable right now. And your words definitely today, those that are listening, definitely will give them some hope and courage. And I really also appreciate you coming out and on record standing by those people who really need us to do our best at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jessica does it always. Jessica does it always.
Mr. Ghiyas
One thing I should talk about now, the people who have a green card now, permanent resident, if they're eligible for citizenship, they should try to get it as soon as possible.
Yeah. Any comment, Mr. Ghiyas Ahmed?
Yes, I'd like to thank Senator Ramos. She's doing good, and I would add something that immigrant men and women had a tremendous contribution to build this city, but we are not getting involved in mainstream politics. So this is our problem. So we have to get involved, and we should be united, and we should support our friend like Ramos, who is working for us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jessica.
Well, I really appreciate that comment, because even though I am running for New York City mayor right now, I have not waited to run for New York City mayor to be outspoken on these issues like other candidates, and I haven't waited to actually pass bills and do the work like other candidates, right? I am actually here in Albany right now because I'm ready to debate the one house budget tomorrow. And somehow people who just are making waves now are able to resonate, even though they actually have not done the work. And that has been very hurtful and does not help our movement to help immigrants. So I am hoping that people are cognizant of who has been doing the work, who has a record of delivering, not because I'm speaking forcefully today, but because I have been for the past 7 years that I've been in the New York State Senate, and before, because even Abu and Najmul have known me from my days at City Hall. This is not new. None of these crises have snuck up on us. We have to be organized and be able to respond to the hatred that is coming towards our communities. And now is the time for us to be united more than ever.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Jessica.
you. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk another
Ramadan
day.
Mubarak.
We'll talk.
I'll see you guys at the
We'll talk
iftars.
another day
Ramadan
about your
Thank
campaign,
you.
mayoral
Yes.
campaign. We'll talk another day about your mayoral campaign. Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.